Hey, welcome to Three Dorks on Demand. I told someone that we were talking to on the streets today. I told someone it's Two Dorks on Demand for some reason. And Rachel
I'm still
quickly
here.
corrected me.
Okay, I'm still here. You guys are not the only
Right.
dorks.
Damn.
Just not a very
I
good
mean, you're
dork.
just not, you're
I'm not.
not,
I'm not a
you
good
don't
dork.
gravitate to dark
No, it's cool.
side of the
You know,
radar.
I just don't count as a dork. It's fine.
But
Oh,
you're
I
the
assumed
hot
that he
eye
was
candy.
including me.
Uh,
No, he definitely was excluding me. You, him, and then there's me apparently.
well, that's eye candy.
Oh. Mm.
There are three of us.
Yeah, so why don't you introduce yourselves so that I can be put in my place?
Me?
Both of you.
Oh,
You got
okay. I'm just here. I'm Ray. I'm here.
You're Ray. I'm Ray. Capiche?
I am Nick, and I am also very much here.
As
Just here.
always, your
Just
furniture.
here.
We see three furnitures on demand.
Your furniture's on
Yeah,
there.
we're like here like furniture.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
a
just
Barca
here.
lounger, I'm sure.
Mm.
But that's not the topic of the show today. The topic of the show is let me actually get the chat up. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Don't want to ignore them again.
I know. It was so hard last week not to be able to
I
say hi.
don't like doing that.
I don't like that.
And thank you for actually making Dark Side two words, our producer, because I didn't do that in our ad. That sucked. Thank you.
Could be
I
worse.
I I thought about it later. Hello, it's Pep Pep.
There's that pet.
But we are going to talk about the dark side of the Cape, and that's a grouping of you know heroes that have gone to the dark side for a time
Or
for
just
a
the darker
change,
side of the heroes.
right? Or what they call anti-heroes in the industry.
And aren't you just fancy?
But we missed you too. Um, we're here to talk about what we feel and how we feel about them, and I think it's a serious enough topic. Especially, we were
Is
kind
it?
of brainstorming earlier about how times have changed, like the the cartoons and the stuff from like the 80s and the 90s that have been banned for whatever social reasons, um, whatever they have been banned, and they're very like borderline like defective in my opinion, comparatively speaking to like shows like Deadpool and The Boys and people that actually take you
The
know
shock factor.
the shock factor, even like shows like
My
Archer,
goodness.
you know, as of late, not that it's still on the air, but that show was very questionable in their take. So I think has had a serious impact on what we watch and how we watch and what we enjoy, and it's really weird to me. Aww.
Oh,
so
Even
strange.
though I don't count.
so that's my initial take. What do you guys think
On the shows and the shock factor and just
on anything? I
I
mean,
I don't know. I kind of tend to disagree that there's a difference lately. I think the only difference that we have is a little bit less censorship. But if you look at a lot of these comics and a lot of their origins, you're looking at a time, you know, 50 some years ago on some of these. You're thinking, war times. Um, and there was a lot of negativity to pull from. And I think that that's something that made the anti-heroes or the heroes gone bad be successful is that they're relatable. is that you look at a Captain America. Like I said, I'll take a Punisher over a Captain America any day of the week because I don't relate to Captain America. I cuss like a fucking sailor. Okay, I'm not gonna curb my tongue. I cuss like a sailor. I have flaws. At the end of the day,
some psychosis.
There's a lot of psychosis there. Let's be honest. I think that the darker side of the cape is more relatable to human nature. We hope to be a Captain America or a Superman, but in the end, we know we're not.
But I think that's what makes the superhero, like the Spider-Mans, the Supermans for the most part, before he went and did his Red Sun thing.
Heroes gone wild.
Really, like lovable because, like as you say, we strive to try to at least emulate some goodness in the world, and that's why we actually find them so attractive, and that's why those kind of movies do equally as well.
Right.
But there are really two sides of the spectrum, I think.
Yeah, I do think you're right though, Ray, in that like relatability matters a lot. Seeing these characters with their flaws, I think it is easier to relate. It's also there's a lot of like emotional weight and gravitas because a lot of times with these characters, like they didn't start off jaded. Something happened to them that caused them to decide to go rogue or break from the law. And so a lot of times they have really interesting backstories. And then I think that also with the characters like Spider-Man, he might be very dark, but he does have a very dark past. And he's also like, while he might not be very dark himself and brooding, he has a lot of relatability to his character. So like, I feel like that's why you can see stories about like the Punisher and be engrossed in them, but then for different reasons, you can see stories about Spider-Man and be engrossed in those.
I think it's important. I think that if you just take it on the base of the classic argument, Superman versus Batman, Superman has this popularity because that's humanity's hope. What we're hoping for.
There's a big capital H.
And then you look at Batman, and that's humanity's reality. And you feel connected to that. And I think that connection is important because we connect to characters. We gravitate to characters that we connect with. And, I'm just going to throw some shade there. I've never met a Superman fan that wasn't superficial.
What?
Damn.
I mean, I know I love Batman, but I don't think there's anything wrong with Superman. But I am superficial too. So.
Oh no, I don't know. Like it's weird because I don't have anything against Superman. I think I like the fact that he exists. He's never gonna be my favorite because he's too perfect. But I still like him. I think he's a good character. But I don't know that I'd call myself a Superman fan because there's so many other characters that I like more,
Yeah.
But Sean has a good point. He says that he prefers Marvel to DC because so many of the Marvel heroes have those tragic flaws.
Yeah, they are definitely built on trauma, aren't they?
They really are. We're trauma bonding with these Marvel heroes.
Yeah. I mean, though, a lot of the characters we're talking about, even the DC ones, like Batman's built on trauma. Superman's family died.
his whole
that's a whole other reason as to why he's not relatable. You have this very tragic, this very like horrible backstory, and he's just hunky dory. He's humanity's hope. Like, come on, that's not real.
But he's an orphan. Just because he's an orphan that can, run the 40-yard dash.
No, that's not real. That's not emotion.
Did you not ever watch Smallville? He was a brooding teenager.
All teenagers are brooding.
But he's like, I know he was 30 when you played him.
He was, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He totally was.
But they do try to make Superman, like even in the what am I talking about here? The new version of the Henry Cavill
Oh
version.
yeah,
Oh
You
yeah,
know, they did try to make it very dark and brooding, and
they
yeah, he was the broodiest of all the Supermans.
yeah.
But they did try, and I think that's because brooding is more relatable, or the dark side is more relatable, like as you say.
did it.
Yeah. Well,
So
also
who?
in those films, that was with Zack Snyder, and he just likes to make things brooding
That's
anyway.
that's
That's
the name
yeah,
I was looking for. Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's his thing.
That's because he's a depressed man, as far as in my opinion of him. Although I've never met him,
Sean.
just
True. True. True.
like yeah, look at Batman's a brooding DC
Sean's
hero.
talking shit.
Were you being like sarcastic
I think
on me?
maybe in defense, right? And I don't know why I'm defending him because I prefer Batman and a variety of other characters, but I would do imagine that it would be kind of difficult to be thrust into so many tough situations, but then to always have to have like that perfect demeanor and to keep his composure all the time because like you are a symbol, you are being looked at. You're not
Right.
you're not just inspiring like children, you're inspiring other superheroes. You know, everybody looks to you as the guy, you know, the person, and that would be very difficult. And I guess, I mean, anybody who's had like a lot of responsibility on their shoulders at any point in time could probably relate with that. I don't know.
No, that's a good point. With
Yeah.
the the big tagline from Spider-Man: "Great power comes great responsibility." So, I mean, it's not far from the truth. It's got to be at least a launching pad for most superheroes, like trauma is. So the responsibilities. I mean, a lot of it
Sean, it just means
is
he's got to tune in on
building the
Sundays
build of
to deal with that trauma. Well,
the build of their character is continuous and ever evolving. I mean, just look at a lot of these heroes. I mean, are getting shellacked by multiple villains at the same time. Like they're dealing with a lot of crapola, and until they unite as teams, that they have to deal with them on an individuality. So
so essentially, what we're needing is a superhero therapist.
Hmm.
they do have one, Harley Quinn.
They did, and
Yeah,
she drank the Kool Aid.
On
she
the
did.
Harley Quinn show, I don't know. Well, how much? Season 3 of Harley Quinn is okay if I spoil, right? It's been out for years.
Yeah,
Years.
Okay. All right. There's she does become Batman's therapist on the Harley Quinn show, and she's doing a pretty good job of it from what I've seen.
he needs a therapist bad,
I mean, it's not like she's a dumb person.
and she could get that guy to be a little fun. Let's be honest here,
Oh,
right, Sean?
she could,
Right?
make him strip
She could
back
be
the
my
cowl a little
therapist.
bit.
Let it be my therapist.
Yeah,
Love
she could
her.
be all of our therapists. She's got a shrine over here to
I mean,
Harley.
it's tiny in comparison to the Batcave, but like I have my area.
Little mini shrine. Pretty cool though.
She
But what about what?
she's kind of like an anti-hero now. Used
Oh,
to be
she
a
certainly is.
villain.
She kind of gained that category now.
Yeah,
Thank
definitely
you,
since
Suicide
like the
Squad.
the movies came out
Mhm.
and she was forced. Well, not even in the movies. I mean, comic books and the Suicide Squad. She was forced into being a hero, but she kind of liked it, of course.
Wow,
It was kind of
it was fun.
appealing.
She had fun.
Yeah.
As long as she's having fun, it doesn't matter if she's doing something bad or if she's doing something good. It all comes down to is she having fun,
Sean will be on her couch.
right?
Hey.
Can I have fun and can I cause chaos? Those are the priorities for Harley Quinn.
Yeah. So, but anti-heroes in general, like, I mean, you
So-
can't really call Venom an anti-hero
That's
because
what I was
he's
going
a
to ask.
symbiote. So,
Because how are we here classifying antiheroes. Do we consider Venom an antihero?
He can be only because he's got a good dude trying to control him.
So
at
then-
least bring him some
Then
balance.
Venom is not the hero. He's not the antihero.
Hold on. Venom and Eddie eventually kind of like, yeah,
They
Eddie
do.
starts off a whole lot more wholesome and Venom starts off lower, but they kind of even out eventually and learn from each other. But he's called the lethal
Facts.
protector. He's 100% an anti-hero. He's finding bad dudes, but he's like biting their heads off. Like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
killing the villains,
He is one of my
anti-hero.
So he's taking it to the extreme. So that's the definition
I think
of
it
an
has a lot to
anti-hero.
do with if you're willing to kill them ruthlessly. Like, because I think you can still be in the hero category and be willing to take a life under extreme circumstances. But like the Punisher, Venom, Ghost Rider, like these guys, their
They
job
are
is to
killers.
kill. That is what they do.
They're ruthless. I think in my estimation of it, it comes down to the ends justify the means. So for a hero, the ends don't justify the means. They're not okay with the path they take just to get the result they need. The path they take must be good and wholesome and decent. And then when an anti-hero, they don't care if they have to kill 50 people.
And how
I
they
saved
get
the
there.
world. It
Yeah.
happened.
Willing to get their hands dirty.
Right. They're going to get their hands dirty. They don't care who they hurt as long as their goal and their objective is met.
Right. So in actuality, like let's talk about Deadpool for a second. Theoretically, the dude's good at heart. Even though he was contract killer, special forces, but he was set on his path by obvious trauma, right? Whether it was done to him or
Definitely chaotic good. Not lawful evil.
Yeah, but he whacks the crap out of people and enjoys it and snorts cocaine and is just a bad man if you think about it.
I have a question.
But people are like adore him.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But is he an anti-hero?
I think.
Or is he just a dude with a vendetta? Is he just getting revenge on people that he doesn't like? Or is he legitimately
There's
an
many
anti-hero?
storylines though.
Yeah, there's plenty of people he kills that they didn't have anything.
Like they just annoyed him. They pissed him off. So now he's like, you know what? You pissed me off. I'm going after you.
I think the fact that he is so funny, he's just a very quippy, quirky, mentally ill persona.
Very.
Makes it a whole lot easier for us as an audience to sort of hand wave away the chaos and destruction, just like river of bodies that he lines up,
And I think that the I don't know, the fact that you do say he's endearing and whatever, but that's in the movies, the cinematic Deadpool. In the comics, I think they touch a lot more on his psychosis, whether it's through his imagination, through his little mental breaks. It's more like Happy. Remember Happy, that television show where he's got like that evil thing going around? But I think he was influenced on his imagination.
That's a good point, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Deadpool stands out because he's not your typical anti-hero.
100%.
Your typical anti-hero is that brooding. You think the Punisher. You think Moon Knight. You think, Venom, where it's very dark, it's very sinister, and then you get Deadpool, and Deadpool is like
happy-go-lucky
and just insanely insane.
He's definitely
and
insane.
He is different, and that's what makes him stand out.
But how come Sean just pointed out all of the destruction that the Hulk causes and Iron Man causes?
Right.
I mean, why
But
why
they're not
are they
classified.
not considered anti-heroes at that point?
Well, the Hulk, I mean,
He had a
it
stint.
depends. The Hulk has been considered just a villain by the public for a while because of the rampant destruction, like you mentioned.
I think the newest Marvel universe, the cinematic universe, has put him like in the category of hero, and we forget who he really is.
Right. And it's been something that they've touched on in Hulk comics. Like some of the best runs touch on the morality of the Hulk. Like, is this even a good aligned thing? You know, this could be
Right.
an entity of destruction that takes over, and therefore, like, would it be right or a kindness to get rid of him? You know. um,
Sean,
but
Sean said something that I have used as an argument because some of us love to play devil's advocate.
mm,
The only difference between a hero and a villain is who's telling the story. Lex Luthor is somebody's hero.
I don't like that.
That's the only difference between a hero and a villain is who's telling the story.
Or just I don't know. I don't think so.
It's not that deep.
I mean,
You don't think so?
no,
I mean, like,
I get it. And that,
look at
like,
it from the other side. And
morality is-
the reason I've always kept this with me because in high school I watched a movie, and I really wish I could remember the name of this movie, but it was a World War II movie, and it was told from the perspective of the German soldiers. And you watch this movie, and you become very attached to these soldiers, these boys that are going to war, and they're fighting, and they're friends, and they're losing their friends.
And they're
And
Nazis.
They
That's
have
not-
their love interests, and
Yeah.
you become engrossed in their lives and their stories. And at the end of this movie, you know, we have discussion in class, and the teacher talks about it. And these are Nazis. These are Nazi German soldiers. Why do you feel for them? Because of the story that was told. There's two sides to every single story out there, and somebody's going to be the hero in somebody's story, and somebody's going to be the villain in somebody else's.
Yeah, but I mean,
So it is that deep, damn it.
It's hard, but it's not that black and white though. It's not that perpendicular or whatever.
Is Thanos a hero or a villain?
He's a world destroyer. He's a villain.
Is he though?
Literally eats worlds
Is he
up.
though?
He's like Galactus.
The ends justify the means. He wanted to do something good.
No, just because you
He's
want
an
to do
anti-hero.
something good.
He's an anti-hero. He's
Just-
not a villain.
There's people that want to get rid of all the prostitutes, and they're serial killers. Like the Green River. Are they heroes?
Because
in
I'm
in anybody's
telling the
book?
story. It's all gray. There's no black and white in any of it. It's all gray.
But I guess that statement just
like,
alludes to the fact that it's black and white.
just like
I
that
mean,
idea of whether or not morality is objective or subjective. Like, is that something where, like, is morality just fixed and there's good and this is what good things are and what good behaviors are, or is it decided on based on, like, we as a society, for example, have our principles. We have what we consider to be criminal behavior, what we consider to be evil, and it tends to line up
Sean.
part of the same society. What's up?
So Sean says Thanos made millions of people disappear in the blink of an eye. Isn't Jesus supposed to do the same thing?
Oh boy.
We went there.
Oof.
As far as
Sean went there.
morality, I mean, this is a good discussion. As far as morality being objective or subjective, that it is a really deep discussion, and I honestly feel like it is subjective. And the reason that I say that is because you take things like marrying a 13-year-old was legal 100 years ago, and now we look at it and go, ew, that's gross.
Even with the 13-year-olds that exist today that look like they're 28, back then they looked like they're 13.
Right. I mean, obviously, you know, we've got makeup and we've got things that they're doing and the clothes that they're wearing that are making them look more mature, right? But 100 years ago, this was something that was normal, and now we go, ew. Um,
I think we evolved into ew, didn't we?
we did, and
We found it
does
disgusting over time.
does that not lend itself to be morality is subjective?
I just think there was too much opium going around
I
back
mean,
then for
100 years ago, you know, we were hanging people on the court. Not 100, but you know what I mean. It's just a random number I pulled out. You know, we're hanging people on the courthouse lawn.
Mhm.
That's not okay now. We're fighting against the death penalty most of the time.
that's evolution.
You know, so if morality is subjective, then so is a hero.
I think though, okay, let's go back to Batman for an instant. Like I said earlier to you guys off air, I think the only thing that really helped him was that he had a moral compass in his family, you know, whether it's, you know, the Robins or Alfred, or even the memories and promises that he made to his dad and mom, um, and his deep love for the city, right? That's the only thing that kept him grounded. So if you don't have that element in your life, it's hard. You're going to experience bad things, even though he's experienced a million bad things. I'm just saying that, you know, he did have, you know, a pretty good childhood, and grow. He grew up in a
Up
very
until
loving
that
household,
traumatizing
right?
point, right? He had,
But
a
he
decent
still
life,
grew up
right?
with love. I mean, Alfred loves that guy, you know, like crazy. You know,
I mean, that is something that would keep him grounded and keep him from becoming, I guess, a full-on villain. But what is the difference between
but
a
he was a
villain
bad guy too.
and
The
an
way he
anti-hero?
exploited those kids. You know, let's be honest. He exploited kids to work for him and work with him.
Poor Robin.
Yeah, that's one of those things from comics that didn't exactly age 100% well. You know?
Right. And that's what I'm saying,
No,
is that
there's that
it's all
subjective morality.
evolution. It's the evolution of humanity.
Yeah, this is true. I also think that his like no killing rule helps a lot too. Like it helps people hand wave away. It's like, well, why is Batman better than the Punisher? Oh yeah, he doesn't
Right.
murder a bunch of villains. He'll break their bones. He'll, you know, tie them up and have them hanging from lampposts for hours upon end. But
Right.
Right.
you know, he's not going to actually. He has a line that he doesn't cross, and he has a code, and I think that helps kind of keep him into that hero category instead of dipping into. Whereas, like, you know, Jason Todd, the Red Hood, is much more an anti-hero because he's willing to cross the line. He's willing to kill.
Right. So, what is
Sometimes
the
that's
difference
badass to us for whatever reason.
True.
between a villain and an anti-hero? What do you consider to be the line between villain and anti-hero? Because I asked the question,
Sure.
is Thanos an anti-hero or is he a villain?
I got this one. It has to do with the intention of why they're doing what they're doing. If they are thinking about the collective good and prioritizing that, I would say that kind of falls into the anti-hero category. Whereas if they're being selfish, self-serving, giving in to their own vices, I would say that would categorize someone as a villain. I think that still categorizes Thanos as a villain because I do think he's giving into his own vices, his pride, and assuming that he can make that sort of a decision, that he will know that reducing the population in half, that this is going to work out better. Because there's no guarantee that would work out better. In fact, that could just doom the universe to collapse in on itself.
There's no guarantee, but if his motivating
just because his
factor
intentions were good,
is, you said it comes down to the motivating factor and the intentions, and his intentions were to preserve the universe, the world for humanity, everybody.
So I think that the basic answer for me would be that if it's murder, it's murder. I mean, if you go around murdering people,
Then
then
you're a villain.
or an anti-hero.
But
You can
we're
be-
asking, what's the difference between
Sure.
villain and anti-hero?
Okay, not hero and anti-hero.
I
Okay.
think also, like with Thanos, we can also say
Wrong
his
page.
intentions, while they were to, I guess, save whoever would survive, his intentions are also to wipe out half of all life in the universe. That is part of his intentions. And if we can look at that and then just, if we can say his intention is evil, because that would be an evil thing to wipe out half of all of living life, that would be an evil thing. I think that we can then say you are a villain. Whereas an anti-hero, somebody like the Punisher, okay, he's gunning down, a drug cartel, right?
Bad guys.
Not great, but also he's keeping the streets clean, And so it's like he's not the end goal. There is like somebody he is trying to actually help, and he's just removing those that are villainous. You know what I mean? Like, and would continue to be villainous. I get what you're saying. It is a weird line.
It is.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head with the intention thing, because when I asked the almighty Google, it's pretty much the same answer. The difference between an anti-hero and a villain is their motivations and the impact of their actions on the world. Anti-heroes are motivated by sympathetic reasons such as revenge, while villains are motivated by dark, evil, or selfish reasons. And the impact on the world. If an anti-hero wins, the world would be better off. If a villain wins, the world would be worse off. And I completely agree with the almighty Google that that's kind of the determining factor there.
I hate the fact that you consulted AI about that. No.
Hey, why not? Lean into it.
I was curious, what is like the technical definition of the difference? Because I can tell you what I think, what I feel. It's not going to be what you think or feel. It's all different. I want to know what the technical definition.
I think you did.
Thank you, Sean.
You did hit a point earlier though, because the subjectiveness would fall if a villain thinks they're doing good, they're doing something good, they're making a difference because they're the villain, like Thanos thought he was making the difference or whatever.
Right.
So I mean that is a good point, right?
Sean kind of made my point about the German soldiers earlier. Many of those henchmen probably had families who may not have even known what their spouse or parent was involved in.
Right.
You are the villain in somebody's story. These henchmen, they're just trying to support their families.
Right.
They just want to bring home the bacon.
Illegally.
Put food on the table. Put clothes on their kids' back. And
no matter what. And that's a good thing. They'll kill, rape, murder people to get ahead.
You wouldn't go to the ends of the world to support your kids.
I'm not raping, murdering anybody.
Listen, if it came down to it and I was in this situation where I was not well off, I'm in Gotham City, I'm in, Star City, I'm wherever the fuck it is, and that is my only option at the time, I'm going to do what it takes to take care of my kids. Does that make me a villain?
Yes.
All right, then.
In my opinion, it certainly does.
If running guns and drugs makes me a villain.
You're willing to cross that proverbial line.
What about my intentions? My intentions are good.
I feel like
But you could also get a job at McDonald's,
Who says they don't have a second job at McDonald's? You don't know that. Now I'm not getting my Big Mac because you killed henchman number 2.
No, I'm saying if you're going to kill the kids, have you exhausted all options or are you just taking the easy way?
Kids. I said run drugs and guns.
Okay, yeah, well, that's what I meant. Kill for your kids. Those are it's a noble thing, right? But if you're doing it as a last resort, or are you doing it just because it's the easy way, you're a villain.
Yeah. I think also, like, I mean, the circumstances matter because I think about it like, with my daughter, like if she was hungry, I wouldn't just go kill somebody to get her food. But if somebody was trying to hurt her and the only way to prevent them from
But
harming
that's a
her
heroic
would be to kill
action.
them, that I might consider,
But that, in my
I'm just throwing
opinion,
it
that
out
would
there.
that would
I'm
be a
just
heroic action, in my
doing
opinion.
the devil's advocate thing because it is gray. It can be looked at in 1,000 different lights.
Yeah, this is true. But I mean, that gets back to motive. The motive behind the action is important. It's very important.
Right. And if you're just doing it just because it's the easy way, or, it's all the other kids are doing it, or whatever the reason
cool kids
is.
are definitely doing
Yeah, whatever the reason is, if you're doing it and you haven't exhausted all other ways to do that, what you're trying to accomplish, then yeah, you're crossing that line. I think that
that
shouldn't be
morality
crossed.
line.
Yeah.
So henchmen are bad guys. I tried. I gave them a good college try argument. I really did.
Yeah. I think villains are villains. I mean,
I
I
just
think
like to argue.
I don't know that there's a lot of villains painted out there as villains that aren't actual villains. I mean, there are some people that are misunderstood, of course, in life in general, but it doesn't really happen a lot by the mass. If the mass reaches a consensus about somebody, it's usually pretty true,
Yeah.
unless they're fed false information. Um,
But when are they given this information? Are they given this information?
Election time.
200 years ago, when we assumed that all of these things were good and true and moral, or are we being given this information now? So does that mean that a villain can evolve from a villain to a hero depending on our moral compass? If morality is subjective, then that means our view of what is and is not a villain is subjective. And therefore, 100 years from now, we could be saying that all the heroes are bad guys and all the bad guys are heroes. Luna agrees with me.
It's entirely possible. I'm sure that years and years and years down the line, people are going to look back at like what we're viewing currently as fiction and see a whole host of problems with like the I guess the values on which our sense of right and wrong are based. I do think that there will be a bit of a culture shock, just like how right now, if I go back and I watch a movie from the 1930s, 1940s, right? It's different, very different. A lot of cultural differences.
Right.
Attitudes
100%.
are incredibly different. So yeah, I think it'll be different down the line too.
Yeah.
So,
again, it's the
we're
evolution.
what about, who do you consider a true villain? Like, it's not questionable. There's no
Like in a comic or in fiction or
comic. We're comics. I mean, we're.
Oh, okay. I mean, Lex Luthor is pretty horrible.
He's kind of a dick. Yeah,
Mhm.
he is.
I think every villain that is accurately portrayed as a villain is a villain.
Mhm. The Joker is a villain.
Really,
There's
the
Joker
nothing
villain.
good that he is trying to accomplish, unless you're watching the Harley Quinn show and then he becomes a socialist mayor.
Umbridge. Yes,
What?
Sean. Umbridge is the top villain.
Umbridge is horrible.
But is she trying to do something good?
No.
Oh God.
I think that the biggest villain in history has to be Lord Farquaad.
Not the go drop buttons.
Anyone who would subject
He
people.
just wanted love. He just wanted to be loved.
Umbridge is freaking terrifying.
Umbridge is awful. Umbridge is horrid.
And What's this question of is she trying to do something good? Isn't she working for like Wizard Hitler?
I'm trying to twist things, okay? I'm trying to play devil's advocate. Wizard Hitler. Shit.
It's pretty accurate though.
Oh,
Oh God. But maybe it was for the greater good.
Are there
I
are
don't
there
know.
are there any villains out there that are redeemable enough to become
Ooh.
anti-heroes?
yes.
Name
It's
some.
happened before. It's happened. Well, it happened with Venom. Venom was a villain. He became an anti-hero. It happened with Magneto. Magneto was big time villain for years, and now he is more often than not portrayed in some form of a heroic light in the comics. He
Right.
Very true.
was willing to go to extremes that some others would not go to, but yeah, he's more heroic than villainous.
What about Carnage? You think Carnage is redeemable?
No, no, he's a serial killer.
Straight up. That dude's a
But
gangster.
I mean, if we're giving him therapy, okay, we've got a therapist for all of these.
Harley Quinn cannot fix anybody.
And you know what? Therapy is great. If you're watching this and you are feeling down and depressed, you might want to consult a therapist. That's a good thing to do. But I don't know that therapy can solve a homicidal maniac who just wants to watch people die for fun.
Right.
They just
Right.
need to come up against a hero, an
My,
anti-hero.
my son
Not
would
a hero.
say that his favorite anti-hero would be like Dexter.
Mm.
Does he qualify as an anti-hero?
I think so. Like all he's doing is killing
Bad guys.
bad guys,
Bad guys. We'll call them bad guys.
serial
trigger
killers, whatever, rapists, whatever. But it's not that he's doing it for good reasons, but at least he's doing it. He's keeping himself in check,
Yeah,
right?
he's directing it at bad people. Yeah, it is.
He's
It's interesting.
oh
But
man.
he would also call like gangsters, like mobsters, anti-heroes too. Like loves Tony
Like
Soprano.
is
Yeah.
an anti-hero. Yeah.
But to me, that's why he loves The Boys, because he likes the line being crossed,
Mm.
enjoys that aspect of it.
I think that might be why I don't like The Boys.
Yeah,
Because
I don't. I
Deep
think you were
down.
turned off by
Huh?
it. Weren't you just turned off by it?
I really was. Honestly, I feel like as a society, like we've gone really, really like the pendulum swang so far to the other side. Like, you couldn't even say shit on TV. And now we have swung so far to the other side that I just find it just too much. It's just too much.
She
I
doesn't,
feel like
Sean. Is that relationship over?
no, I don't, Sean, but you still love me, so um I just find they're just pushing the envelope too hard.
Feel ya.
Which is odd for me as somebody who loves to push the envelope,
Same here, Sean.
but I feel like there's a time and place for everything. And I think that they took the dynamic of comics that we love and we've grown to love so much. The hero is the good guy, the villain is the bad guy. You have your anti-heroes who are doing good things, bad ways. We have these relationships and these dynamics, and they took that and they just said,
Turned it
fuck
on
that
its head.
shit. And it really just kind of fucks with your brain a little bit, and it just wasn't something that
I appreciated the exploration. I mean, and still do. I mean, I liked it. I think someone needed to do it, and I think they did it very well.
Yeah, I like it. I really like the show. The comic, Garth Ennis, other than Preacher, I'm kind of not a big fan of because I feel like, to Ray's point, this is a man who for whatever reason, keeps making superhero comics, despite the fact that he clearly fucking hates superheroes. He
Yeah.
has
Obvious.
a rage boner for them. Like would write. He'd get a story, like they'd give him Green Lantern, right? And he's like, "What can I do in a Green Lantern story? Well,
To
how
fuck
about
him
I have
up.
him be humiliated, have him seem incompetent, um, have some other terrible things I'm not going to get into on here because they're too graphic and
Right.
repulsive done to Green Lantern. Uh, yeah, yeah, Garth Ennis sucks. But the show, on the other hand, they took like the rough edges of Garth Ennis's concept for the Boys the comic, and they smoothed them all out, and they made them work better than they did in the book. Um, so I really do like The Boys, but I do get the idea of it being too much. Like Jacqueline won't even watch it because she just thinks she thinks it's way too gory and it
It's
gets into like its indulgences way too often. I think
It pushes the envelope, definitely.
it truly it's too gory. It's obscene. I find it distasteful in some scenes. Which is, I'm not a prude by any fucking means. I'm not. I do find in art, and I find movies and TV to be art, that sometimes, and maybe the boys should have figured this out, less is more. You know, you don't have to push the envelope like that. And I think it speaks to the desensitization of society that everybody in the world loves this shit but me and Jacqueline, apparently. And it's kind of sad that there's no mystique, there's no mystery anymore. We're just going to go out there and see how we can drop someone's jaw more this week.
But
if we can squeeze some guy's head and explode it with our hoo-ha, like it's just not.
I see what you're saying there, but and you have, that indulgence, that right to not indulge or whatever. But it's like, I'm not going to watch Matlock, and millions of people love Matlock or Murder, She Wrote, or whatever these shows are, right? That are, or that type of show that are G-rated, they're going fishing and skipping, and I have no interest in that kind of stuff. I like to see cinema that pushes the envelope.
I lean towards the realism. I don't want it to push the envelope to the point where it's fake, it's overdone, you're trying too hard. And I don't want that bullshit G-rated, gee willikers, guys, I'm real now.
Golly gee beef.
I want it to be real, and I want to connect with it, and I want to feel things with the characters. And I can't feel anything with boys because it's ridiculous, it's outlandish.
But my problem with that is that I can open my front door and watch that.
Can you though? Are you watching somebody smash somebody's head with their vagina?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Really
I'm not. But the stuff that you can relate to and that you like and that you watch, I can just go to the mall and watch.
You don't want it. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying on that.
Yeah, that's why I want it to be bold and take, a stab at doing something.
Apparently, the
creative.
new Matlock is good, and leave it to Pep to know that. Grandpa Pep.
Well, it's got what's her name in it. It's got to be good.
Yeah, when you mentioned Matlock and Murder, She Wrote, all of a sudden my mind started going to like a gritty Murder, She Wrote reboot that's just like violent and like every other word is an F-bomb, and it's just like
I would love it.
Which is
Breaking Bad, but Murder, She Wrote.
I'm every other word I say is an F-bomb, but it's not grotesque. I'm not like.
Yeah, it's the nastiness of that show.
Matlock with your Werthers, Pep. Don't hate on the Werthers. Werthers are delicious.
That's what Kathy Bates is Matlock.
Yeah.
You gotta love her.
Love Kathy Bates.
Bad news. Angela
somebody was
Lansbury died in October 11th, 2022, so she can't be in the reboot.
Well, does she have a look-alike sibling
a
or
look-alike
daughter
sibling.
that we can cast? Because I'm down with it. And you know, in this show, guys, what we do sometimes is come up with movie ideas and show
This
ideas,
is true.
and
right.
that's a gem.
Although I would love to see like Angela Lansbury just dropping F-bombs.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, you can get AI to do it. I mean,
I don't want AI. I want it to be real. I want it to come from her soul.
I think Carrie Fisher looked good.
She looks fantastic for AI.
AI.
But she just looked fantastic, period.
Yeah, she was really pretty.
She's really beautiful. She's gorgeous. She's hot. I'd have hit it. Sorry.
That's fine.
New Carrie, old Carrie.
Is Wolverine an anti-hero?
Absolutely. But you know what? I don't know. Is he an anti-hero? Because what are his intentions? His intentions are, I don't fucking care.
I think he was.
But he
at
does.
one point. I think he was an anti-hero at one point, but being on the X-Men for so long softened him to the point where now he's more just a hero.
Just a hero.
Yeah.
He's a gritty hero.
Yeah, I mean, he's still a little rough around the edges, but I don't know, like it used to be that it was kind of like comics' intention that Cyclops was going to be the inheritor of the X-Men, and then Wolverine just blew up as a character, and then they kind of started shifting to make it seem like, oh, maybe Wolverine will be like the new leader
Right.
who takes over eventually, and now they're kind of shifting it back, and I don't know, it's a whole mess.
But I think, Wolverine being able to go from maybe he was a villain originally and he ran around just doing dick shit, to being an anti-hero, to now being classified as a hero. I think that means there's hope for Lex Luthor.
For Thanos?
Thanos is not a villain.
Thanos
I will die on that hill. Thanos is
he needs
not a
therapy.
villain. Thanos is an anti-hero.
I disagree.
I will die on this hill. You are sleeping on the couch.
Oh boy. I do think Thanos is a villain, but I think that, like the best villains, he has a compelling motivation for doing what he does.
Shit.
Psychosis?
But if there's a compelling reason, doesn't that speak to the text?
I mean, the reason could be that he gets a hard on for him. I mean, I don't know what his reasons are, but he's a megalomaniac in my opinion.
Thanos was misunderstood with a bad plan.
With a bad plan.
Was it the greatest plan? No. But was anybody else doing something? No.
Hold on. What? No.
Nobody else was solving the overpopulation.
Nobody else was trying to obliterate half the universe? Like, what?
Right?
No resources.
We can rebuild it.
Whole worlds were dying out. Do you want your entire world to die out? Or would you rather lose half
But
of
we're
your
not
population?
even on the cusp of dying out, and he's taking us out. 50% of us.
Also, like,
Do you want the entire world to die out? Or would you rather lose 50% of the population?
but he had no guarantee. He had no guarantee that the entire world would die out. He was going off of a hunch. And then on top of that, he had no idea that doing what he did, eliminating half of the universe's population, wouldn't cause the universe to spiral closer to its end. So
Right.
he did not know.
I didn't
That's
say he
where
was
it goes
a
back to the
smart
pride,
man.
the pride of assuming that this would have been a good thing for everybody. And I think that makes him a villain because
hunches are
say he
bad.
was
I mean, they
smart.
don't even win horse races. Hunches are just bad.
And here's the thing. He didn't have a choice. He snapped the finger. He didn't say, you know what? Earth is fine. We're not going to take those people. We're just going to take the people from these planets. No, it was half. Bottom line, half. Boom. One snap
But
of the
that
finger.
gauntlet could have given them the power to, pinpoint.
Thank you. Rasmussen is on my side.
Lack of food.
Thanos is not a villain.
We can solve that, though. We can
And-
solve food. Yeah, the ocean is teeming with food. teaming.
He's not a villain.
We're not gonna ruin the ecosystem of the ocean if we start to rob it of its natural resources.
No, we haven't overfished our oceans as it
There's
is.
sections
How many?
that are.
How many fish have gone
Spread it
extinct?
around a little bit.
How many fish have gone extinct?
Yeah, that's the reason enough to
And
kill
how many sharks are on the cusp of extinction?
30 billion people.
Because we're overfishing. What about whales? We're destroying.
I'm not
the world
talking
around
about
us.
the mad
Cut the
people that mess
population.
it. Damn, Thanos, simmer down.
Where's my gauntlet?
Also, just pointing out real quick that it wouldn't just be like half of humanity, it'd be half of the whales, half of the sea.
Right. You're
They
killing
would die
all
anyway.
of that.
It would not. It was just people.
They're gonna die anyway. Might as well use them for food.
But I mean, Ray is 100% right about overfishing. It's a huge problem.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make light of that. I'm just trying to say that there are avenues to take.
There's resources. We're
What?
going to genetically modify food.
Dude,
That's
if
what we're
we
gonna
can
do.
AI food at this point.
Yeah. We actually have. There's been a good amount of like GMOs that have made it so that like rice
You know
has
what?
nutrients
So-
that all people need to eat. So that helped with hunger issues across the world.
I'm
Anyway.
making an executive decision. Next week's episode is going to be on classic movies, classic new, whatever, movies that discuss how we as a society have dealt with these issues in the future. All of these movies that are set 100, 200, 300 years in the future, what did they do to solve these issues? And how well did it work out for them? Because
Waterworld
it's
worked
never a
out
good
beautifully.
society. It's never a good society.
I like this.
I say hands up to Waterworld.
It's always, some bullshit. We're in pods and our minds and
Dude,
it's bullshit.
you cannot. Okay, what about 2 men enter, 1 man leaves? Thunderdome. You can't fucking discount that.
That's how we're
That
going to
shit
solve the
works.
overpopulation.
Yes.
Thunderdome.
Hunger Games.
Thunderdome. See, Hunger Games. We did not do a good job solving any problems.
Oh boy.
That's a good problem solver. I
Sean
think
says
they
Demolition Man worked out.
right. They just did it on a small scale. They need to think globally. They need
The
some
3 seashells
Thanos.
came from it. Oh man, guys, I'm such a dick.
No, I love that, by the way. I think that'd be a fantastic show to do at some point. Yeah.
I'm down.
Because honestly, if you look at it, all of these movies,
I will
and
just
these
add
shows
comic relief.
that are right set in the future, and we've had to go through this where society,
I am the law.
just destroyed itself. What did we do? We just watched the 100. By the way, started off fantastic. It fucking sucked afterwards.
Tanked.
They did a horrible job, and every decision they made was worse than the next one. You watch all of these movies set in the future, and they talk about how we're so horrible, and this was our solution to it, and it's never a good solution. So I vote Thunderdome.
I thought Red Planet was a really good solution.
Be fun.
Yeah.
Let's go to Planet of the Apes. We'll do that. That's my solution.
With what species though? Does it have to be like
Can I
monkeys?
have elephants? Oh my god, I would be
Primates?
so happy.
Does it have to be primates? Yeah, we can do elephants and giraffes.
I love elephants.
You want to be an elephant woman?
No, I just want to be on a planet with elephants. I like them a lot better than
Yeah,
I
you're
like
on a
most
planet
people.
with elephants.
Shut up.
Is that a fat joke? No. I mean, Earth has elephants.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I mean, I don't want any people. I just want elephants. Because I like
I love
elephants.
that we
They
just-
stink.
Earth has elephants. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to have elephants on the planet. You do, baby.
Oh, that was my ear.
All right. Well, that was our exciting show for this evening. We're going to come back to you with some.
I'm not a dork. I'm just special.
We're going to change the name of the show to Two Dorks and the Special One.
I'm a special child.
Oh boy.
You guys love me though. I make good points though.
You
I make
do.
you guys
You had
think.
great. You had a great take, and you didn't suck.
I thought
So
you had good takes.
yeah, definitely.
That's that. If I have made the wheels in your head spin, then I've done my job. That's all I need to do.
Mine are burning, like
Thanos is
steaming.
not a villain.
Thanks.
I
Thanks,
don't-
Mr. Ewing. Thanks you for the
I know we
contributions that
got
you
we got
make.
Rasmussen back.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, but okay,
We missed you.
I know we're about to end the episode, but just hear me out here. If Thanos isn't a villain, right? Then all of those good people that are trying to stop him, what are they? What
They're
if he's
villains.
not a villain and what he's trying to do would be good, then the people trying to stop him, they're all bad.
That takes me back to my original point of the night: is that you are the villain in someone's story. They are Thanos' villain.
I mean, yeah.
Dude's a villain. Dude killed millions of innocents.
Yeah.
I am the villain in someone's story. I'm the hero in Bronner's story. So
All right. With that, we
That's
want to
gonna
wish
be
you
us for
a
tonight.
beautiful night and some peace
Happy
and some
Halloween.
love coming your way, we hope.
love you guys.
See you next week, same bat
Miss
channel.
you. Smooches.